Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today I'd like to take you on an adventure of making raisins. So I'm standing next to my hemorrhoid grapevine. I'm going to harvest some grapes here, and then also I'm going to harvest some from my Candace grapes. I really like to combine the two. The Candace has a better flavor. The hemorrhoid, though, is also extremely delicious. So I like harvesting both. So let me show you first what I like the most about the hemorrhoid grapevine. It's unusual in all my grapes. Let me show you what that is. So right here, first clump of grapes that you can see is not ripe. It's a new clump, and we have several of those throughout the vine. So let's show you the interior over here. Okay, I don't know if you can see this little guy. Here's a reason harvesting grapes can be difficult. The hornets love grapes as much as I do, and they especially love the Candace grapes. Now, if my grapes are swarmed by hornets, today they're not, there's just a few, but if they're swarmed by hornets, I'll harvest at night. I'll use a headlamp and a pair of long-handled pruners, cut the bunches, let them drop to the ground. Any hornets that are in a drunken slumber, which is what they usually are at night on my grapes, they will fall off, and then I can bring my grapes inside safely. So we're gonna very carefully look in here, because it seems like the hornets are really active. Actually, first, here's another clump of grapes that's not quite ripe. So we have them in different stages. And if we look inside, be careful not to disturb that hornet down there. See all the grapes? These are ripe. Let me pull one out and show you how I can tell they're ripe. Now, if you look at this clump of grapes, it's got a more translucent color. We've already got some drying on the vine. And then you taste them. Let me taste this one. Very sweet and delicious with a little spicy hint. So let me get harvesting on this vine and see how many we can get. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I got about a half a bag of grapes off of that vine. I'm not going to harvest the whole thing yet. They last pretty long on the vine, and my dryers can only handle so many grapes. So let's show you what the Candace looks like. So look at this one right here. Here's a set that's not quite ripe. We've got one that's good and ripe. And then look at the color of these over here. So here we see this little guy right here. What he's doing, you can see what he's doing. He's chewing a hole in my grape and harvesting everything on the inside. And what they end up like at the end of the season, if I don't harvest them, is little husks. So he is a pest. I haven't found a way to get rid of the wasps, other than spray them where I find them. I don't spray my vines with wasp poison or anything else like that. I just come out at night and harvest them and try to get them all before the hornets get all of them. So here's a beautiful cluster of Candace grapes. Let's get harvesting and see how many of those we get. Now I've finished harvesting. I've also added a few of my Jupiter grapes. These are not nearly as prolific. You can see there's a lot of undeveloped buds, but these are not good for grapes. Their skin is too thick. Jupiter is a muscadine grape, or a muscadine type grape, and they make really good juice. So here's my basket of grapes. Let's go inside, show you what we do to make raisins. Well, we're back inside my house, and it's been about a week since the last video, since I harvested that first grocery bag of grapes. And we are now down to the last tray of grapes that have been dehydrated. Now don't worry, I'm going to show you how we do this with another bag that I've harvested. But this has taken about a week to get to this point. We'd completely filled all of those trays. One grocery bag of grapes seems to fill about one of my full dehydrator. And this is what they look like. Now all of these are ready. What I've been doing is picking out the ones that were ready, putting them in this plastic bag. This is how many raisins you get out of one grocery bag of grapes. So I think all of them are done. Let me just check and see. They do tend to dry very unevenly. There's one right here that's still a little gushy. You know, I'm wanting to start another batch, so I think we're just going to let them go the way they are because they're pretty good. You don't want them hard and crunchy. You want them just a little bit leathery. And it's really good. So let me show you how we get to this point. Now making raisins is a little time consuming, but it is extremely easy. So what we do is we first start obviously with the harvest like we did before, and then we wash the grapes, and let me show you how I do that. So here we have a sink full of the grapes that I harvested. I've already washed most of them off. I let them soak usually for a while just to make sure there's no bugs. Yes, when you have grapes and you harvest them, sometimes you do get a few spiders, and I found that soaking them and washing them off really helps reduce that. You know, if you're squeamish about spiders, I guess you could put them in the refrigerator and that would kill everything. But then and then when you wash it off, the spiders will be gone. Or you could have somebody else do the washing if you need to. But anyway, I'm not that worried about spiders. So we take our grapes. Aren't they a gorgeous color? I love these. These are my Candace grapes. I'm going to mix Candace and my Himrod grapes together to make raisins. The Candace make a really good flavored grape. The Himrod is good too, but I really like the Candace more. When you mix them, then you can use all of them together and they all taste good. So then what you do is you take these grapes and you put them, you take off all the stems. Try not to let any of the small stems be connected. Let me show you what that looks like. The Candace don't seem to pull off the stems, but the Himrod, when you pull them off, let me see if I could get one to do it. Yeah, this isn't doing it either. Let me see if I can find one that does it. You want to pull off all the stems. You don't want the stems left on the grapes like this. I mean, sometimes you find them in store-bought grapes, but I don't like it. I don't like it when the stems are left on there. So I'm always sure to just take all of those stems off. So it is a little time consuming. But we're going to get all of these grapes washed and stemmed, and then I will show you what we do after that. Now it's time to load up my dryer, and I just put as many on each tray as I can. As the grapes dry, they will actually shrink a little bit, so I don't care if they're a little bit crowded. Now I'd actually like to get a few more of these for this dryer. They're to dry herbs, and it just kind of helps the grapes not fall through the holes. If they fall through the holes, it's not a big deal. They just go to the bottom and dry at the bottom. If your grapes are big enough, it's not a big problem. But I have some smaller ones in here that sometimes fall through. But it's not that huge of a deal. The trays are all full and it's ready to just plug in. Now I realize that not everybody has dryers to use, so let me show you a way to dry your grapes, turn them into raisins without a dryer. So what we have right here is my flat cookie sheet. If I had a cookie sheet with edges to it, I would use that instead of the tin foil, but I cannot find my cookie sheets anymore. I probably lent them out. But the only reason I have the tin foil is just for edges so that they don't roll off of the sheet. I have a piece of parchment paper down here because they do get pretty sticky. We're just going to spread the grapes evenly across the cookie sheet. There we go. They're all ready to go. We have the oven heated up to 250 degrees, and then we're just going to put them in there overnight, and we're going to check them and roll them around a little bit as we go, because in the oven they seem to dry just a little bit faster. So now we're done. That is how to make raisins. It's very quick and easy. You can do it either with a dryer or without. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe, and have a wonderful garden adventure.